Hi everyone, and welcome to Paper Pumpkin Week here on Creative Chelsey. This week I'm going to share with you great card ideas that you can make with one set of supplies from this month's kit. Today I'm sharing my second alternative set of cards using the December 2023 Paper Pumpkin kit called All the Best. This beautiful kit creates a total of 9 greeting cards, 3 in these 3 different designs. Plus, it includes an acetate gift box that fits the cards and envelopes. And you can easily create a fun gift to give to someone with this kit. If you'd like to watch me unbox the kit or see any of my other alternative cards, you can click in the playlist in the top right corner. Each month, I take the contents from the Paper Pumpkin kits and make alternative projects. My cards are easy to follow and can be made by both experienced or new paper crafters. You may need just a couple other products to complete them. You can follow along with me using supplies you already have or purchase any products that you see me use from my online store, and the link is in the description below. Today I'm sharing some simple card ideas that have a big impact, and I'm excited to show you how to make this border with the leftover label scraps. If you are new to my channel and would like to continue to see all of my Paper Pumpkin alternatives, make sure to subscribe using the link in the bottom right corner. So to begin, we're going to use both of the card bases, and we're just going to cut them in half. So let's start there at 4 1/4. We're going to take the blue side, that's just plain balmy blue. We're going to rotate it and we're going to remove 2 inches. And then hold on to this larger piece for some future cards. We are going to trim this actually down just a little bit so that we have a nice border from our card base. So trim it to 4 1/8. And I do like to remove the side that has the fold on it. And we're also going to do the same to our pattern piece. However, we can't just cut 1/8 off of one side, or it's going to be, the center will not be in the center anymore. It will be off center. So we need to cut just 1/16 on all sides. So you're just going to start, and just keep in mind that as you move around, it's going to become less. So those first 2 cuts are just a 1/16, and then I need to cut, just the next one is a 1/16, but it's going to be measured at 4 1/8. So just keep that in mind as you're moving around. And the same with the 5-inch side, it's going to be cut to 5 3/8. So that's your final measurement, is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We can actually just make it simpler on ourselves because this pattern here doesn't need to be even. We're just going to go ahead and cut to 4 1/8. Save the larger piece, and then you can choose which side to cut. Actually, now that I think about it, we have a little tip here. So this looks like it's one solid piece in the back, but if you look closely, this bottom is not as light as the bottom here. So I've removed that bottom section and then separated the top section into 2 pieces. So we're going to go ahead and cut 2 pieces that are 1 3/4 inches on this darker side. So 1 3/4 first. And then we're going to go ahead and just do that again, 1 3/4. And then you have this piece left over, and again, hold on to that. So we need 3 pieces for this card here. So 1, 2, 3. And then for this one, we just need the background piece. But before we put our paper trimmer away, we're going to grab the leftover scraps from the rectangle dies, label dies. And we're going to use this, but before we start cutting, we need to separate them right in half. And it's easier to do it when it's all together. So go ahead and do that. kind of line it up as best you can so it's right in the center of your cut line. And then trim it so that they're 2 pieces. So before we get too far, let's go ahead and add these pattern pieces to our card bases. Because this paper is thick, because it was a card base, I'm going to just use regular basic white cardstock so that my cards aren't super thick. Normally I would use the thick basic white from Stampin' Up, but again, I don't want my cards to be too heavy. So I'm just going to add the pattern right to the center. There will be a slight border all the way around. Make sure to smooth out liquid glue if you use liquid glue. So there's the first card. For the second card, we are going to do this in 3 different steps. So the first step is, I kind of like it when it goes in that same color tone that it had. So the darker side is at the top, and then it does get a little bit lighter as it moves to the bottom. And so I'm just kind of putting these 2 pieces back together so I can see which one is the top and which is the bottom. And I'm going to start with these 2 pieces, and then I'll bring in the center piece to connect them. There will be a small border around the pieces. And I'm just flipping my card base over because one side is a little larger than the other, and so I want the larger side on top. Okay. Go ahead and smooth those out. Make sure the borders are what you want. So they're just nice and thin and they're even all the way around. And then this piece should fit so that it is just slightly overlapping, just a little bit. There won't be a lot of overlap, so keep that in mind. Before we add this, we are going to tie some ribbon around it. So I've got 20 inches of crumb cake twine. And again, you can use any color twine that you have. So I'm going to find the 2 ends, put them together, and then add the piece in between. And what that does is just kind of helps me when I'm tying the bow so that the pieces are about the same distance. So I'm not having one piece that's longer than the other. I always tie a knot first when I'm working with thin twine like this. So maybe like a 1/2 inch or so, 3/4 of an inch from the bottom, just kind of eyeball what you like. And then you're going to add some adhesive. I'm actually going to bring it in just a little bit, maybe about a 1/2 inch. Okay, so that it's not sitting right on the edge. If you want to use some of the tear and tape that came in the kit, you can do that too. That will help hold the ribbon in place. So that doesn't come out. Normally when I use twine or ribbon, I would use dimensionals, but I don't really want this piece to stand out. I kind of want it to be more of the background. And then you're just going to connect the 2 pieces with slight overlap. So smooth out that glue. At this point, you can tie a bow if you'd like that. Let's go ahead and complete this card. So for the center element, I wanted to add some gold stripe across. I thought it would be fun to kind of change up the way the circle looks. So I got that gold stripe from the edge of the banner, and you're just going to go ahead and snip off And then you do need to remove that little bit of white from the one side. So just use your paper snips and carefully cut along the gold edge. And then you can add this with a little liquid glue. Sometimes when I have delicate pieces like this, I'll grab some scratch paper and then make a pile of glue, and then you kind of just dip it in that glue. And then you just get what you need along that back. Okay, so before we add this, we actually need to place it first. So just kind of get an idea of where you want it to go. I'm looking for an even amount of space on the top and bottom. And then you're going to lay your strip across where the ribbon is. That's kind of your guide. Okay, and then on the back, you'll have just a little bit hanging off. Go ahead and just trim that to the shape of the circle so that it looks like it's all one piece. From here, you can go ahead and stamp your greeting. I'm going to use the Pebbled Path ink spot and the Hello Friend. I really like the way this greeting fits inside this space. So ink that up, and then you're going to place it so it's just above the gold strip and the O is almost touching the gold circle. And that will give you plenty of space for your flower. We are going to go ahead and add this. I'm going to use some tear and tape so that I don't have liquid glue everywhere. Just a couple strips of it. And again, tuck that in right in the center so that the gold strip is just above the twine. Like that. And then you'll take your flowers, add some dimensionals to the larger areas. And then just kind of hug your greeting. So it's okay if it goes over the gold. We're not placing it along the outside edge. You want it to be inside so that you can still see some of that gold circle peeking out. Super cute. I did not add any embellishments besides just the twine. So that's the only embellishment that I've added to this card. So this one's all done. So for this card, we are going to go ahead and fussy cut out these outlines here that are left over from the rectangle label. You want to try to cut right along the edge. So it looks like this, and then you're going to repeat that for the second one. Now you don't have to add the second one if you don't want to. You could just do a single rectangle here, but adding the second one kind of rounds out the rectangle and gives it some really nice interest. This side here needs just a little more trimming. I think that's good. So now we're going to create the shape. And the easiest way to do this is to find a midline here and try to place your first one. Let's actually flip these upside down. So we're going to place the first one so that the midline is right in the center. So just kind of eyeball it until you think that's where it is. I'm going to add some adhesive with some tear and tape just to kind of hold it in place. And then just make sure it's nice and straight on your grid paper or whatever you're using to measure. And then you're going to rotate the second one, and using that midline, you're going to place this along that midline. Just kind of eyeballing, hold on, this piece here is hiding it. There. Okay. Just kind of eyeball it. Make sure that you have about the same amount of space on both the top and the bottom. And then once you like that, double check on the sides that you're getting the same amount of space. So this one looks a little smaller. So I'm gonna gently kind of adjust that just a little bit. Okay, so once it looks about the same all the way around, we're going to add just a little more washi tape to hold things in place. Let's lift this one up. It's in the wrong spot. There. Okay. So we're going to, wherever they intersect, we're going to add some tear and tape. So it's easiest to work with this in small pieces. So you're going to take a piece and then trim it right down the middle. It doesn't need to be exact. So now you just have two thinner pieces, and you're going to lay this over the intersecting areas. And if you want to tear it, you can, or you can go all the way across, but that's going to hold everything together. If it's a little big, you can always tuck the adhesive back to the back. I'll show you what I mean, because I will need to do that with this one. All right, let's remove the washi tape. And those should all now be stuck together. So you'll remove the paper backing from the tear and tape. If you do have any adhesive that is showing from the front, you're going to take a pick tool. So I have a little piece here, and you're just going to fold it to the back. So do you see how the adhesive is not on the paper? You just take it and fold it back. So once you have that, look at this fun shape that you now have. And we can easily just add this to the center. And you can measure if you like, or you can just eyeball. And then we're going to add our flower. We are going to stamp. So I'm going to stamp after everything's on my card, and that just makes it easier for placement. So you want to make sure that your stamp and your clear block, they don't have any ink anywhere except for the stamp. So this kind of just gets placed on the inside of those shapes, kind of circling around the area where you want to place your greeting. I'm going to use the Hello Friend again, and just again make sure there's no ink around it, so that only the ink is on the greeting. If I have ink on my clear block, it could get on my card. And then just kind of eyeball where you want to place that and stamp it right there in the center. It's such a fun modern design to this card. I did add some embellishments, and I used 5 here. You don't have to use that many if you don't want to. I'm just going to push them onto the card here. There's that one. Maybe a small one up here. And your card is all done. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create these fun and beautiful cards using the December 2023 Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you're interested in getting your own Paper Pumpkin subscription, please use the link in the description box below to subscribe. If you would like to see written instructions or close-up images on how to create these cards, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.